Welcome back into another edition of Pillar to Post here on 97.3 ESPN's YouTube channel. I'm Mike Gill from 97.3 ESPN. This here is Tom Morgan from Sojo 104.9. He's doing the yes chant to start us off.
You have been anti-Daniel Bryan for the last month, and look where it got you. Daniel Bryan.
Not anti-Daniel Bryan.
He's been on fire already. He's already going down our throats, and now he's looking good already.
Well, and let's get right into it. The move to put him in the main event again, they're trying to really force feed him. I don't like the way they do it. It feels dirty. I feel like I need a shower after watching Monday Night Raw the other night. I mean, the poor guy Reigns, he wins the thing. Stick with your guns, man. That's the guy you wanted. Stick with them. And now they're trying to do this little reversal of fortunes here where, for the history of the Royal Rumble, the guy who wins the Rumble match, he gets to the main event of WrestleMania. And now they've created a new pay-per-view called Fastlane, and they're going to put Daniel Bryan into that match against Reigns. I don't like it.
It's certainly a mess. It's a sloppy mess. The Royal Rumble itself was a mess. But then again, you know, the creative staff could have done all of this on purpose so that you and I could talk about this live on Pillar to Post and talk about all the controversy leading up to it, and then they can undo it with Daniel Bryan moving on to Fastlane and wrestling Roman Reigns for the #1 contendership, the WWE Championship at WrestleMania.
Well, and again, I think what they did was they had Daniel Bryan come in the 10 spot.
Yeah.
And they figured, all right, let's get the pulse of when we throw him out, how the crowd is going to react.
Right.
And then we'll have Reigns win it, which was lazy booking, very sloppy. They have him throw two, it was just terrible the way that the whole thing worked out. It was lazy, very lazy. So then they say, they cheered for him, they booed him. Let's try to create a match for Fastlane to get interest in this. I think Bryan's going to lose the match, but now they had interest in this now because of Daniel Bryan being in it, and now I think this is the beginning of them turning Reigns to heel.
But didn't you think that leading up to the Royal Rumble, they already knew that Daniel Bryan was going to get a ton of cheers, that Roman Reigns was going to get booed?
No, I don't think they knew that.
I really do.
Let me ask you a question.
You and I talked about it before.
You work here at Town Square Media.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And does it befuddle you sometimes, the decisions that are made above your head?
The video is recording right now.
My point is this. Sometimes it is unbelievable that people who are in charge make the decisions that they made. It's everywhere. It's not just here at Town Square Media. No. Sometimes Pete Carroll decides to pass the ball when he probably should have thrown. Yeah. Or run the ball, I should say. I think that Vince McMahon and the creative people really believed that Roman Reigns was going to get cheered. And there are rumors that he was stunned by the reaction. I think they really believe that, look, I think in his mind that he believes that all the wrestling fans out there want to see a guy 6'3" with muscles and good looks.
Sure.
And apparently that's not the way it works anymore. Well, you got to think outside the box, and I get the whole Daniel Bryan thing. He's different. Mm-hmm. He is just a different type of superstar, if you want to call him that. Right. And they don't want to accept that.
Well, Vince McMahon really is into the bigger, stronger wrestlers. I mean, always have been giant fans. We talked about the Great Khali a couple episodes ago and how he was pushed really hard in the beginning. And now you get a guy like Roman Reigns who has a very deep history, obviously with The Rock and the Usos, and the list goes on and on. Rikishi, all in the line of his blood and his family line. So it's going to be very interesting what we see. I do think Daniel Bryan is going to lose at WWE Fastlane, and Roman Reigns is still going to be the #1 contendership. I do think Seth Rollins now still has the Money in the Bank briefcase. He could go on and cash it in before WrestleMania. I doubt that. I think we're going to see another three-way match between Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. I think Daniel Bryan is probably going to end up wrestling someone like Dolph Ziggler, who's been rumored to be his rival at WrestleMania, which I think would be a great match.
Good match, technically.
It technically would be a great match.
Well, what's it proving? What's it doing? I mean, the fans... Look, this is the reality era. We had the Attitude Era. Right. We had the, the Miz era, which was the awful era there, where there was nothing going on. You had the Attitude Era, then the Aggression, where it was all this, just when the two companies combined, and now you have this reality era where if you boo, we'll figure out a way to change it.
Sure. Well, make sure you have the hashtag boo before you do it, and subscribe to WWE
Cancel
Network.
subscription to
Cancel
WWE Network. Hashtag was the number one.
Exactly.
But let me ask you, do you like the fact that they decide, hey, the crowd doesn't like this, let's write a script up here and get Daniel Bryan back? I mean, you've basically ruined the integrity of the Royal Rumble. My whole point on Monday night, I'm sitting there watching thinking, all right, Roman Reigns, you've been offered this opportunity. Why don't you say, well, what if I say no?
Right.
That answer never came out. He just said, fine, I'll take it. And I think what you're seeing is the beginning of him kind of becoming this loner, heel by himself, where he's going to end up beating Bryan.
You keep bringing that up, though. You keep bringing up him turning heel. I mean, I get that because they did that with Batista when they brought him on, and then when
they had no choice.
They had no choice. I think to bring up what you said earlier about, are we in an era where if fans boo, they change the script, if fans cheer, they change the script. You have two men together who are actively running a company together, who are actively in charge of the writing of the WWE, in Triple H and Vince McMahon, that not always are going to see eye to eye. And Vince obviously has some of that older school that is in him that may have worked back in the mid-'90s, is not really working now. Or Triple H, if you watch WWE NXT, that's going to be the future of the WWE, to quote Jim Ross, by the way.
Triple H was on the Stone Cold podcast after Raw on Monday night, and he talked about NXT. They want to take it on the road. They want it to be basically a second brand now, or a third brand if you talk about SmackDown.
Which I think is smart.
And it's great. I watched NXT from last week. I just finished last night, and I mean, it's just great. It's well done. It's quick. It's only 1 hour, so that's very easy
That's all we need.
I'll say this. I think ultimately it creates false hope for the Daniel Bryan fans out there. So you're giving them an opportunity to boo again, and that's when it's going to turn him heel. And I think you should watch for maybe a Heyman shift or something, because
possibly
Reigns can't talk.
Right.
It's a problem in the world of sports entertainment when your best guy can't talk. So he is just not ready to be the main guy. He certainly has the look to do it, but he doesn't have all the other intangibles that you need in today's wrestling world, especially in the WWE, some of these other companies.
It just feels too quick, though, to me. It feels like yesterday the Shield was disbanded, even though it's been a year now. I just feel like it's a little too soon to turn him back to a heel now that he was just from a face from his Shield days. But then again, maybe I'm wrong. So, but let's move on to WWE Raw, of course. And of course, we had the beginning of lots of dialogue going on. We finally know what's going to happen at Fastlane. So our first match after Roman Reigns gets the bearer of bad news. Big Show versus Roman Reigns, your first match at WWE.
Yeah, and they basically squashed Reigns. They start him off losing so that I guess they can rebuild him back up to get himself looking like. But the first match that he gets, Big Show, boo, whatever. And they're going to try to kind of build him back up there for Reigns to end up fighting, which we'll find out later on in the show who will end up fighting here. But he starts off on the bad foot. They're going to start building him back up. Classic booking there. You start him off with a loss, start to build him back up. Okay. Although, anytime the Big Show comes out, I'm so disinterested, it doesn't matter.
The Big Slow is coming out here. And, of course, we move on to Curtis Axel coming out in the ring. I should be main eventing the WWE WrestleMania and taking on Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship.
Such a jackass. They really
Oh,
did.
my God. It was like 1985 all over again, redneck wrestling. My grandma watched that crap. It was bad.
I think that's what most people want to get back to. Though.
Oh, yeah.
Well, anyway, as this falls on top of our head here, look,
Rusev.
There was a lot of people who thought, look, he never was out of the Royal Rumble. They had to really put a period at the end of that sentence and make sure that he was not involved in any way, shape, or form. They got him out. That was good. He looked like an idiot.
Yeah, and I love how Dean Ambrose came out, clocked him, and put him over the rope. There, you're eliminated. And
the first time, and then he came back in and got some more.
And he got some more. So, which could set up Dean Ambrose versus Bad News Barrett for the Intercontinental Championship at WWE Fastlane. He was calling out. I think that would be a really good match, and I think it's great that they're having Dean Ambrose being built up some more in that mid-card range in the Intercontinental Championship. That's why guys like Shawn Michaels got built up. That's how guys like Stone Cold Steve Austin got built up. More build up for him. Then we move on to the weirder stuff as the Ascension took on Stardust and Goldust.
Obviously, they're building up Stardust for Goldust in WrestleMania.
Right.
Probably these guys are going to split at some point. They're fighting constantly now. Stardust says at the end, "I'm not Cody. Don't ever call me that again."
Right.
They slapped each other in the face a couple times. The two brothers. I think you probably will see maybe Goldust retire or something to that effect, where his brother can retire his brother, and that might be the way Goldust gets. He's in his 40s. Keep in mind, DDP Yoga can only work for so long.
Right, exactly. And I think, keep in mind, Goldust probably will retire after WrestleMania. Here's a neat concept. Backstage they were talking Stardust and Goldust after the match, and they lost that match to the Ascension, by the way. And you mentioned Goldust calling out and yelling Cody, and Stardust says, "Don't ever call me Cody again." What if you saw Goldust go and be Dustin Rhodes at WrestleMania against Stardust? Because Dustin Rhodes got so involved in that Goldust character, on camera. It was just an absolute freak show almost. And now you get this guy like Cody Rhodes turning into this Stardust. Maybe he's just for one night only going to be Dustin Rhodes for once.
Well,
he's going to wrestle his brother Cody as Stardust.
And it could be him like a street fight kind of deal where he's wearing jeans and boots and I'm going to beat you to, you're my younger brother. I need to get this crazy character out of you and it's my fault that you've done this.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's the story. The Ascension match doesn't mean it. I mean, that match is nothing. That's the story. The Ascension, I don't know what the heck they're doing with them, but I could care less at this point. They've ruined, that's the problem with all these NXT guys. They're bringing them up and they're ruining them, so don't bring them up.
Be nice to see
that show's better right now.
Right, yeah, it is. And it'd be nice to see Dustin Rhodes for the first time since WCW Saturday night. All right, so we move on to Paige versus Alicia Fox. Your girl, Paige.
Paige my girl. She's out there, Paige, hey, I'm pale too. We can be pale together.
Clearly, I'm the Dolph Ziggler look here.
Well, they're obviously building her up in terms of they're breaking her down right now, making her the sympathetic babyface going up against the two nasty sisters who, are the mean girls. And obviously they're going to set that up for Fastlane. They'll probably, if there is a Divas match at WrestleMania, you'll probably see Paige, who right now is probably the best of the performers. I wouldn't mind seeing Ric Flair's daughter,
Charlotte,
get pulled up in some capacity, but it might not be enough time.
Well, and the mean girls he's referring to, of course, the Bella Twins, and
who, by the way, yes, they're not like the be-all, end-all of looks. Okay, they have a decent look. They're twins, that kind of, but. It's not like they're like, oh my God, look how smoking these two girls are. They're okay. Okay? It's like they think like these girls are like Playboy playmates out there.
Right.
Not quite.
They look a lot better than your girl Paige, though, I'm not going to lie. Sorry.
It's one man's opinion.
Yeah, there you go. We move on
to the like button if you like Paige. More so than the Bellas, anyway.
We get the Miz versus Sin Cara, and we get to see Mizdow kind of get trounced on from the Miz.
Yeah.
We're starting to see this build up between these two. Obviously, we're thinking like WrestleMania possibly.
Well, that's the story. The match with Sin Cara doesn't matter.
Right.
It's the story because Mizdow's outside. He's conflicted. I just got fired. I got this new role now. He's Miz's assistant. And he wants to help. And he wants his old character, and he can't. He's sitting outside. Mizdow's great.
Right.
He's great. I just don't know where they go with him when this is all done. Okay, so he beats the Miz at WrestleMania.
Right.
And Miz is a company guy. They want to give him his shots. He does all the promotions. He's in the movies. He's a good-looking guy. Yada yada. But Mizdow is stealing the show. But where do you go with him afterwards? I think that's going to be interesting. To see where they write him, but I think you're setting this up for a WrestleMania match.
Well, I think this is exactly what Damien Sandow needs, is this build-up. When he came out and he was this scholarly teacher, like, you're welcome. He had some crowd reaction, whatever. He did something with Cody Rhodes for a while. I think
Rhodes Scholars, that was
Rhodes
good.
Scholars, yeah. The Mizdow stuff is great, and I think it's going to build up to something really good for him. And it just shows, by the way, Damien Sandow can do just about anything. He did X-Pac at the Raw reunion.
That was really good.
We thought it was actually X-Pac. He's really, really good at having that comedic atmosphere as well. And The Miz wrestling someone like Damien Sandow, I think, is an appropriate match for WrestleMania, not for like a WWE Championship, unlike a few years ago. Rusev versus Eric Rowan.
Well, obviously that's not a story either. Rusev.
And there goes that.
There it goes. Sorry.
About a Socho logo.
Why that? The Rusev match, why that? Why put John Cena in that match? Is he going to win the U.S. Championship? No, this is going to be Rusev beating Cena. They're moving Cena to the mid-card now. This is finally the crowd getting what they want. Cena's stopping to main event pay-per-views, and this is going to be Rusev now becoming... I would assume this will be the jumpstart for him to be in the main event, possibly for WrestleMania 32.
Anything's possible. I think they need to continue to have this build up for him. I think they're doing it right. Unlike Ryback, who came on the scene, he had a lot of comparisons to Goldberg. He was wrestling all these jobbers. You get Rusev, who's having significant matches, significant experience. Now he's going to wrestle John Cena. He's going to have his United States Championship on the line, which is kind of weird having John Cena wrestle for the WWE.
What if he wins? Now he's the U.S. champion.
I know, it's so odd. But I don't think John Cena is going to win, and I think that this will be significant build up up for Rusev. It's a good character. Vince likes that whole U.S. versus Russia or U.S. versus whatever thing. It's happened before. Classic booking, exactly. So Rusev plays the character really well, and his manager is not.
Well, she's better than Paige. Okay,
yeah, much better than
she's better than Paige.
We can vote on that. We can agree on that one. So we move on to the main event: Seth Rollins versus Daniel Bryan. Match of the night, clearly.
Seth Rollins versus. Sorry, who was it? Oh, Bray Wyatt.
No.
Daniel Bryan. Oh, you've missed that match.
I did miss that match. I did.
It was a really good match, by the way.
It was a great match.
But it really had no... it was okay, it was a great match, but it had no meaning. I mean, where's Ziggler and Wyatt? What are they doing with each other? Wyatt's probably going to fight The Undertaker, and you have no idea where Ziggler's going. It sounds like you think he's going to fight Daniel Bryan, who beats Rollins in the match you just brought up here.
Right.
Now, obviously, that sets up Bryan to fight Reigns at Fastlane, but what does that mean for Rollins now?
Yeah, well, I think that what it means...
Great match, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, they're really, again, the booking for Seth Rollins and Daniel Bryan couldn't be any better. I mean, these are, in my opinion, the top two superstars right now in the WWE, technical-wise. They look good in the ring. They do great on the microphone within reason. I mean, Seth Rollins has had a few issues, but, they're really pushing Seth Rollins as the top villain in the WWE. They're doing a great job of it, I think. Seth Rollins is definitely going to be main eventing at WrestleMania with that briefcase. I don't think he's going to, obviously he lost to Daniel Bryan, but so he's definitely going to cash in that briefcase at WrestleMania. That's my opinion.
Well, he doesn't have a lot of time left to do it.
No, he doesn't.
Without
and he has
Brock
to do it at
Lesnar,
WrestleMania.
without Brock, they need a prop. They need something. There's no
Right.
championship around. What's going to happen with Lesnar? There's so many things that are going to be coming up here, and obviously you have SmackDown coming up. We'll have to see what happens there. Is SmackDown going to become a show that you have to watch? Are they going to continue these storylines?
It's starting to be,
Or
yeah.
is it going to just become?
Yeah.
By the way, the Triple H interview with Stone Cold afterwards was definitely must-see. Got to take a look at it if you haven't seen it. It's on the WWE Network. Answered a lot of things about marrying into this situation, talked about NXT, all that great stuff. So check that out. Also, if you want to continue to send questions in, #pillar2 post. We couldn't get to the questions this week. We'll try to do it for next week, and we'll battle them up. Shawn Michaels coming up. Also, former creative team member Andrew Goldstein will be on next week. And also Wade Keller from PW Torch is coming up as well. So check us out. The WWE Network show 98 Heatwave. Taz versus Bam Bam Bigelow. Not Katy Perry.
Yeah.
Bam Bam Bigelow. ECW
Who wore it
Heatwave
better?
98.
Katy Perry at the Super Bowl halftime show or Bam Bam Bigelow ECW? The flames and the costumes and whatnot.
Check that video out on the WWE Network. All right, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. I thought Raw was decent. It's a shame that the ratings went down just a little bit.
Yep.
I think, though, as we get closer and closer to WrestleMania, I think those ratings will get right back up. I would like to see more happen, more matches announced as we get closer to Fastlane, which I think we will. But I think so far the Fastlane upcoming pay-per-view is looking pretty good.
Well, it is, and they put Bryan in there, but I think it was really lazy the way they did it. The announcement, this big announcement, and they put him in the match. He beat Rollins on Monday night. Now he's going to fight. I don't like the way they end up doing that. It kind of cheapens the Royal Rumble a little bit. It really does. It does. And I think Reigns will end up winning. I think Raw this week should be very interesting to see the build-up now of what they do with Rollins, guys like Ziggler and Bray Wyatt. What is he going to do there? So a lot to get into next week here on Pillar to Post. He's Tom. I'm Mike. We will talk to you next week. We record Tuesdays. We drop Wednesdays here on the 97.3 ESPN YouTube channel.
Save Ferris!
Here we go again! Right now! Let's go!